Here are the casts and the characters they play. Arti Tangwibuan Panid as Panthakan Kumpimuk. Newly returned from overseas after completing his studies, he has had a strained relationship with his father ever since he was a boy. The reason for his resentment stems from his father's infidelity with another woman named Charm Wang, as well as his neglect of his mother, which persisted until her passing. Simultaneously, he feels that his father harbors prejudice against him, lacking both love and trust. Although living under the same roof, he does not have a harmonious relationship with his father, stepmother Charm Wang, and stepbrother Thong Ek, even though they all treat him kindly. He meets Prapai, a cute, lively and courageous girl by chance whose initial unfavorable impression he develops turns to hatred upon discovering that she is the niece of his stepmother, Charm Wang. Only after losing monetary support from his father does his initial reluctance to work in his father's company dissipate. In an intentional effort to irritate his father, he deliberately requests to occupy the position currently held by his stepbrother, Thong Ek. Despite his continuous harsh treatment of Prapai, he also displays concern for her and feels uneasy whenever he sees her being close to Thong Ek. Gradually, he starts to wonder if he has developed romantic feelings for her. Noticing that Thong Ek likes Prapai, but refuses to admit it, he challenges him that he will express his feelings to Prapai instead. He eventually expresses his feelings to Prapai but in a casual manner, leading her to believe that he is merely mocking her. Although he no longer holds any resentment towards Prapai, he struggles to contain his anger and treats her poorly whenever he's upset with her aunt, Charm Wang. His willingness to shoulder the blame for his stepmother's hospitalization, of which Prapai is being wrongly accused of, convinces those around him that he does have feelings for Prapai. His relationship with his father worsens as a result of this, leading him to be disowned by his father. It is only when his family is hit by a major crisis that he comes to a realization, after being advised by Prapai and the people around him, that he must reconcile with his father and collaborate with the rest of the family to overcome the situation. It is also during this time that he discovers the truth of what had happened between his father and late mother in the past, which his father has kept secret all these years. Muktanari Anrat as Prapai, online Thai dessert seller. Growing up without her parents, she has acquired her grandfather's Thai dessert skills and runs an online business. However, her business faces a setback after she is evicted from her rented house, which has been sold, and to make matters worse, her utensils are taken by thugs. Following this, she receives an invitation from her cousin brother, Thong Ek, with whom she has always had a good rapport, to stay with him. Unbeknownst to her, Thong Ek happens to be the stepbrother of Panthapan, whom she has been trying to avoid ever since she met him by chance and played a prank on him, and both Thong Ek and Panthapan live under the same roof. Despite Panthakan's unwelcoming attitude and frequent insults towards her for staying in his house, she remains determined to continue residing there with the support of everyone else in the household, including Panthakan's father. Although she often bickers with Panthakan, she does not harbor any hatred towards him. In fact, she discovers that he is not the unruly and despicable person he appears to be. Without her knowledge, she coincidentally becomes an intern at Panthakan's father's company, granting her more opportunities to be in his presence. Over time, she finds herself gradually developing feelings for him. However, much like him, she refuses to acknowledge these emotions. Her growing closeness with Panthapan stirs up jealousy in both Napakan, who has harbored feelings for Panthapan for a long time, and a celebrity gold digger who is pursuing him for his wealth. Meanwhile, after noticing that Panthapan's relationship with his father has worsened, she steps up efforts to make them reconcile. However, in the process, she finds herself on the receiving end of his scoldings. As her feelings for Panthapan deepen after they both get stranded in a jungle, she senses that, despite his supposed hatred for her, he too has developed feelings for her. Both of them unconsciously express their affection for each other, only to dismiss it as mere teasing moments later. Ranadat Wang Sarat as Thong Ek, cousin brother of Prapai. He resides in the residence of Panthakan, along with his mother Charm Wang, and holds senior position in Panthakan's father's company. In secret, he nurtures romantic feelings for his cousin, Prapai, and is ever prepared to lend a helping hand whenever she requires assistance. Despite earning the trust of his stepfather, both he and his mother are despised by Panthakan. Nevertheless, he bears no ill will towards Panthakan, recognizing his own position in the family. When Panthakan requests to sit in his position in the company, he has no objection to it, but this proposal is being opposed by Panthakan's father instead. After mustering enough courage, he surprises everyone, including Prapai, by finally expressing his feelings to her. However, he notices that Prapai appears uneasy and behaves awkwardly towards him. To ease the situation, he decides to retract his confession by explaining to Prapai that the reason he expressed his feelings to her was solely because he wanted to prevent Panthakan from bothering her again. Due to Panthakan's continuous interference in his relationship with Prapai and realizing that his love for her is not reciprocated, he chooses to enter into a marriage with another woman, arranged by his stepfather, Sangkorn. However, despite his upcoming arranged marriage, he finds himself unable to let go of his feelings for Prapai, and experiences jealousy whenever he sees her with Panthakan. He discovers ongoing attempts of embezzlement taking place in the company, but before he can take any action, his family is struck by a crisis involving Panthakan's father, Sangkorn. It is during this time that Panthakan reconciles with him and collaborates with him to overcome the situation. However, in a surprising turn of an event, he betrays his own family, including his mother, to support people who are against Sangkorn. Mantri Januksorn. As Sangkorn Kompimuk, Panthakan's father. He has had a troubled relationship with his son, Panthakan, since Panthakan was still a boy, as Panthakan blames him for having an affair with Charmwang behind his mother's back, which indirectly led to her demise. As a result of their strained relationship, they find themselves incapable of having a meaningful conversation and often end up arguing. Frustrated by Panthakan's attitude and his apparent disinterest in working for his company, he openly proclaims that he will not allow Panthakan to inherit his company. He intends to pass on his company to his wife, Charmwang, being confident that it will be in capable hands as she will manage it well with the assistance of her capable son, Thong Ek. He is concerned that his legacy will be destroyed if he entrusts the company to his son, Panthakan. Unaware that Thong Ek is in love with Prapai, he intends to arrange a marriage between Thong Ek and Napakan, the daughter of his close friend and business partner. He believes that Napakan, being a capable lady from a respected family background, would be the perfect match for Thong Ek. He disowns his son, Panthakan, after he confesses to causing his wife, Charmwang, to be hospitalized. During the absence of both Charmwang and Panthakan, he appoints his trusted good friend, Napadon, to occupy Charmwang's position and assist him in managing the company. However, little does he realize that his actions have provided Napadon, who has harbored malicious plans against him all along, with a perfect opportunity, not only to undermine his company for personal profit but also to seize complete control over it. Satri Samipak. As Charmwang, Thong Ek's mother, Panthakan's stepmother. She is the supportive and understanding wife of Sangkorn, who despite being despised and frequently insulted by her stepson, Panthakan, she maintains her patience and has never engaged in any argument with him. To prove that she stays with Sangkorn because she loves him and not due to his wealth, she has thus far refused to register their marriage, despite being asked by Sangkorn. She harbors a desire for reconciliation between her husband and stepson Panthakan, making dedicated efforts to bridge their gap with the assistance from Prapai. As her husband makes arrangements for her son, Thong Ek, to marry a woman of his choosing Napachon, she advises her son to make his own decision. However, she reluctantly agrees in the end, after noticing her husband's insistence on the marriage. Later on, she grows suspicious that Napachon is marrying her son solely for his potential fortune. In an attempt to uncover Napachon's true motives, she devises a plan, but Napachon manages to foil her plan in time. When she is hospitalized due to an attempt to make her sick, she refuses to believe that Panthakan was behind it, despite his confession. She firmly believes that despite Panthakan's apparent hatred towards her, he does not have the intention to physically harm her. She talks to her husband, Sangkorn, urging him not to accuse his son of such actions. Meanwhile, she is shocked and upset when she discovers that her obedient son Thong Ek has turned against her family and aligns himself with Napadon, the man who has betrayed her husband. Natasha Noljam. As Napakan, owner of a cafe, daughter of a businessman. She was Panthakan's junior in high school and has harbored feelings for him ever since he saved her from a rape attempt then. Since the incident, she has been suffering from depressive disorder. When Panthakan returns after his studies, he does not recognize her anymore, but she continues harboring love for him despite he does not feel the same way about her. However, she persists in her efforts, supported by her father, to attract his attention in the hopes of winning his affection. However, Her desire to marry Panthakan is shattered when her father forces her, against her strong objections, to marry Thongek instead. This decision is made after her father learns that Thongek is the potential inheritor of Sangkorn's fortune, rather than Panthakan. Even though she is set to marry Thongek, she can't help but feel envious every time she sees Prapai with Panthakan. She vows that she will not let anyone snatch Panthakan away from her. With the aim of undermining both Thongek and Prapai, who works as an intern at the same office, she willingly takes up a position there. Her motive is to tarnish Thongek's reputation in the eyes of Sangkorn, thereby preventing him from inheriting the wealth. By achieving this, she hopes that her father will cease forcing her to marry Thongek. Driven by her desperation to prevent losing Panthakan to the others, her initial attempts to simply tarnish the reputation of Prapai and others who hinder her efforts take a more drastic turn. She resorts to physically harming them. Athiwad Sainid Wang Na Yuthaya. As Napadan, father of Napachon. He is a friend of Sangkorn, Panthakan's father, who upon discovering that his daughter Napachon has feelings for Panthakan, he supports and encourages her to pursue him. He hopes that his daughter will become Sangkorn's daughter-in-law and assist in his struggling business. Using their friendship, he manages to gain support from Sangkorn to pair his daughter with Panthakan. However, his plan takes a turn when he discovers that Sangkorn intends to pass on his company not to Panthakan, but rather to his wife, Chorm Wang. Now, he wants his daughter to marry Charm Wang's son, Thongek instead. Upon learning that Sangkorn has not yet legally registered his marriage with Charm Wang, he urges Sangkorn to promptly do so. He fears that if Charm Wang is not officially married to her husband, both she and her son, Thongek, may be unable to inherit Sangkorn's wealth. This would render his plan to have his daughter marry Thongek futile. When Sangkorn requires assistance in the company during the absence of both Panthakan and Charm Wang, he volunteers himself and eventually occupies Charm Wang's position. Seizing this opportunity, he proceeds not only to undermine the company for his personal gain but also to seize control of it. Natarine Suanalurd. As Tempha, good friend of Prapai. Being a close friend of Prapai, she is always prepared to provide assistance whenever Prapai needs it. Unbeknownst to Prapai, she arranges an internship placement for both of them at Sangkorn's company. While working there, she secretly falls in love with Thongek, but he does not reciprocate her love. Her chance discovery of Napachon's ill intentions leads to her becoming a target of Napachon, who is determined to eliminate anyone who stands in the way of her plans. Sirine Kokiat. As Busababin. Bunny. A popular celebrity and a gold digger. Upon being approached by Thongek to become the presenter for his company, she openly stipulates that she will only accept the project if it is handled by Panthakan, as her true intention is to be close to him and to marry him eventually. She has no qualms about openly declaring her love for Panthakan and insists that he becomes her boyfriend. However, her anger flares up when Panthakan rejects her in front of reporters, feigning love for Prapai instead. Despite this, she isn't giving up on Panthakan and continues to pursue him vehemently, arousing the jealousy of Panthakan's admirer Napachon along the way. Pitipon Porntri Sat. As Taichin. An employee of Sangkorn and a good friend of Panthakan, who is often caught in the tension between both of them. Priyama Rachata. As Antpin. Prapai's aunt, whose relationship with her niece is not close due to her refusal to allow Prapai to stay with her when Prapai's parents died while she was still a child. Shalempol Tikum Porntirawang. As Max. A jovial employee at Sangkorn's company. Sakal Ratpuntazi, Singto, as Nikan. Prapai's fellow intern at Sangkorn's company. Naran Sakonkub. As Ter. Prapai's friend. Tirapol Homjam. As Reggae. Prapai's friend, Kukai. Secretary at Sangkorn's company. Chal Dad. As Uncle Chit. Caretaker of Panthakan's mother's house. Kwan Rudi Klomklum. As Prathong Kompimuk. Panthapan's late mother. Werachai Hadakofit. As Konkop. Sangkorn's longtime foe who threatens to expose his past secret. credit to Thai Channel 7. Thank you for watching.